Hi, so the next video is going to take us through selections and conditionals in JavaScript. And they're very similar to selections and conditionals in Python, with the Python if, else, else if type statements being very, very similar. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a form which takes in information about a person and their eligibility for a driver's license. So we're going to type in a H3 tag here, check eligibility. And then we're going to create, underneath that, we're going to put in two inputs, a bit like the other form. So there's first input, second input, and then we're going to put in a break tag, and then we're going to put in a button tag to submit the form. And then we can put this as check if eligible. Okay, so we'll just run that just to check that it all looks okay. So you can see here I've got my two input forms and the button underneath. So let's just add some detail now to the input. So first thing is, because it's, again, we need to target the input, we need to give them an ID. And say ID equals, I'll call this one name. And then we can also add a placeholder. And what placeholder does is it allows you to see what they should enter into the box. And then this one can be ID equals age. And again, we'll put a placeholder enter age. Some basic instructions. Put this one as well, enter name. Just run that again. So you can see enter name and enter age is in the boxes now with the placeholders. So for the button, then we need to run a function. So we haven't created the function yet. So we're going to just call this one here button, and then we're going to give it an on-click event, and then we're going to call up the function in JavaScript, and we'll just call it check, just to keep it simple. It's going to be called check. And then what we need to do then as well is we need to have an area for to output the information so that when they click the check button, that it shows them if they're eligible or not. So we're going to put in a H4 tag here, and then we'll say eligible, and then we can use either an inline element such as an A tag or a span tag. It wouldn't really matter. I'll use an A tag in this case. So we're going to type A ID equals confirm check. So I'll call it confirm check. And then we're just going to put in some dashes there just to show that there is something going to happen. And that should be fine. So now we'll just run this again. And then this is where the eligible output should come here. Okay, so the next step then is to add our function, our script. So again, we're going to have to put in the script tag at the top of the page or at the bottom of the page. It doesn't really matter, it'll get run after pressing the button. So I'm just going to put it up here. So I'm going to type in the script. And then we're going to type in the function here. So the function is going to be called check. And then we're putting in the curly brackets again. And then in the body of the function there, we can then type in let age equals, and then again we need to target the document get element by ID, and we need to pick up the value from this field here. So let age equals document dot get element by ID, and then we need to see the name of the element, which is, we've called it age, and then we need to grab the value of that, which is what's in the, so value is referencing a text input box, so the value, and then put in the semicolon, and then we need to convert the age variable into an integer. So we're going to say age, and then we'll type in equals parse int brackets age. So that's now converted the age variable into an integer. And now we have it as an integer, we can put our if statement, if and else statement to check if the value of the person's age, it makes them eligible for a driver's license. So we're going to type in if, and then we put in brackets. This is where it's similar to Python. Age is greater than or equal to 17. Then we're going to put in the curly brackets. So that's a little bit like putting the full colon after the Python if statement. So we're going to use curly brackets instead in JavaScript. So we're going to say document dot get element by ID, and then we need to grab the check value here so that we can populate this. So we're going to type in, sorry, confirm check, sorry, this guy here, confirm check, and then we're going to put in the dot inner HTML, because this time we're targeting an HTML element rather than a input box, and then we'll say equals yes. So that's my first if statement, and then I need an else statement. So I'm going to type in here else. So again, put in the curly brackets instead of the full colon. So we say else document, I can just copy this. It's the same. So we're going to do the confirm check, and then this time obviously it's going to be a no because they're not 17. So in other words, what this is doing is that it's checking the value in this box, enter age. If it's greater than or equal to 17, it will say yes down here. If it's not, it will say no. So we can now run and test this. So there's nothing confirming on this first box. I'll just put in, say, 17 here. Check. So yes, that's coming back as yes now. So again, let's just rerun it again just to check that it works. If I put in 16, and that comes back with no. And a bit like in Python, you can continue adding if and else if statements. Okay, so for example, there's a very slight difference in the syntax here, but if we said if age is 17, so let's put an else if statement in here. So what I'll do is I'm just going to put a couple of lines here. So again, if I'm going to copy this guy here, and the main difference, I'm going to tab this over so it's the same place. So with JavaScript, the else if statement is else and then space if. And then what we can then do is if we said the age is equal to 16, we can allow them to drive a moped. So else if, so again, brackets, age equals to 16. Okay, exactly the same as Python there. And then we can then put the rule there. So in other words, it's the same here, confirm check in a HTML, and then we can change this to moped only. So again, let's just run that again. So again, if I type in Hugh and age is 16 and check, then it comes back with moped only there. Okay, great. So if you'd like to try that to start with and see how you're getting on with the conditional